So today's session is mainly on aspect and conjunction. So I hope you all can see the screen now, and it is quite uh, fine. So let us start today's session, and it will be a small one. I won't extend it longer. So let us start. So aspect is mainly said to be, let's say, if there is a planet, then a planet will have its own aspect. Depending upon the type of planet it is, it might have a single aspect or multiple aspect. For example, planets like in the inner circle of the asteroid, or inner circle of Earth, actually have a single aspect. For example, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, these all have single aspects. They only aspect directly. And planets in the outer orbit like Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn have multiple aspects. So let us understand what is aspect and what it actually means. So like you can see here, uh, aspect is something you can infer as, for suppose Sun is posited in the first house of of your horoscope, and then it will be aspecting 7 from itself. So if I count 1 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is called the 7th aspect. So if Sun is placed in the first house, then it will be aspecting your 7th house. So the effect or the influence of Sun will also be felt on your 7th house. That is called the aspect, or that is the concept of aspect. So this is how it actually works. For example, if Sun is placed in your second house, now seventh from here will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, excuse me. So this eighth house is coming out to be seventh from second. So Sun will be aspecting directly this eighth house if it is placed here. Now, in case if it is placed here, now it will be aspecting this house directly opposite to itself. So seventh aspect mainly means aspecting directly opposite to itself. So for suppose if Sun is placed in the fourth house, where it will be aspecting then. So any comment on that? Correct, correct, yes. 10th, directly opposite to itself. So that is the main concept of seventh aspect. Now if it is placed in sixth house here, then 12th, correct. So just add 6 to that number, so it will show you where it is. So but if the number is more than 7, 7 or more than 7, so you then in that case you cannot add 6, you have to subtract 6. So directly opposite. So if it is placed here, then directly opposite, something like this. Same thing for Moon, Venus, and Mercury. So all these planets only have seventh aspect. So the place they are deposited, and also the sign or the house exactly opposite to it, or the seventh house from it. So this is the meaning of seventh aspect. Now let's move to all other planets. So we have covered only 4 planets till now. So these are the main seventh aspect, that these planets only have seventh aspect, as you can see. So what about others? Let's see. So coming on to Mars. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and even Rahu and Ketu, these have 3 aspects. So apart from the seventh aspect that they have, 2 additional aspect they have, that is fourth and eighth. So Mars will be influencing fourth house from itself, seventh house from itself, and eighth house from itself. For example, if Mars is placed in the first house, it will be aspecting the fourth house, seventh house, and eighth house. And now if Mars is moved to fourth house, then what will be the aspect? In which houses it is going to aspect? Yeah, correct. Absolutely correct. So if Mars is placed here, it will be aspecting here in the seventh house, then in 10th house, and then in the 11th. Now, suppose if it is placed here, now fourth from here, this will be uh, this eighth house, then exactly opposite 11th house, and then one next to it, that will be 12th house. So this is how the aspect will be for Mars. Now, if I take Mars to here, to the 12th house, so Mars will be expecting my third house, my seventh house, and sorry, yeah, my sixth house and my seventh house. So there is a concept of Manglik. You all must have heard about it, some way or the other, in either in the Hindi movies or either from some of the astrologer. They say that the person is Manglik or so and so. So what is the concept of Manglik? Let me come to that. This is actually comes from the aspect of Mars. So what happens is when a person is considered to be Manglik, it is said that his marriage life would have some trouble. S- So just to avoid that, precautionary measures are taken. So let us see that. So what is actually the concept of Mars? So anyone can tell me that in which places if Mars is deposited, then it will be aspecting the seventh house. So first of all, you have got that Mars. If Mars is placed in the first house, it will be aspecting the seventh house. What else houses are there? If it is placed or if it is aspecting seventh house, it will be influencing seventh house some way or the other. So yes, you're saying fourth house and 12th house, and also if it is placed in the seventh house, then it will be influencing seventh house itself, not aspecting, but I can say it will influence the seventh house. Correct. So this is actually the concept of Manglik. What happens is when Mars is placed in first house, fourth house, seventh house, eighth house, and why eighth house I will tell you, and 12th house. So if Mars is placed in these houses, then mainly astrologers say that the person is Manglik. Eighth house, it is considered because it is considered to be the house of death and also sufferings, your certain incidents in your life or certain accidents that happen. So if Mars is influencing that, then even that becomes lethal for your longevity. So from that aspect, even Mars in eighth house, or if it is aspecting or placed, not aspecting, I would say, but yeah, if it is placed in eighth house, then even that person is considered to be Manglik. But now, if you consider that there are 12 houses, and if I consider one, two, three, four, five, if Mars is placed 12 in these five houses out of 12 houses, then the person is automatically a Manglik. So nearly 45% of the population are Manglik. So this makes no sense. This concept of Manglik makes no sense, because if someone has to consider that, then mainly nearly half of the population would be Manglik, and that doesn't make sense. That half of the population would be going through some of the miseries in their married life. So that doesn't make sense. That is actually a generalization. So this Manglik dosh has actually become a weapon to actually uh, extract money from the clients for astrologers. So this is how the hype has been created about Manglik dosh. Uh, so I don't call it dosh anyway. I've seen that practically, if you see, people who have Mars placed in these houses are generally more aggressive to the normal people. So this trend I've seen, but apart from that, nothing else. And also one thing I would mention that Mars in fourth house is particularly not good, specifically for the reason being, fourth house is considered to be the house of your satisfaction, your happiness, your luxuries, your mother. So, and Mars, if comes to that house, it is considered to be actually making you more aggressive towards your satisfaction, making you more aggressive towards your happiness, and actually they doesn't go side by side. So for that reason, Mars is generally not considered to be a good or good position for Mars being settled in fourth house. On contrary, if Mars is placed in 10th house, so 10th house is for career, your name, your fame, so what all social reputation that you have gained so far. So if Mars is placed in 10th house, that actually makes more sense. So if a person is more aggressive towards his career and towards making reputation in the society, then that is actually more actually understood, or something I can say that more accepted. So the best place for Mars being deposited is 10th house, and uh, actually a weak place, or the one of the weakest place that Mars could be is the fourth house. What I have found in my uh, research, and actually going through all the experience of charts that I have studied so far. So this was about aspect of Mars and what is actually Manglik Dosh. Now coming to aspect of Jupiter. So Jupiter, when placed in first house, will aspect fifth, seventh, and ninth. So this is the pattern of Jupiter would be. If it is placed here, it will be aspecting sixth house, eighth house, 10th house. If it is deposited in third house, then it will be aspecting seventh, ninth, and 11th. Now, for example, let's say if it is placed in eighth house, then where it will be aspecting, answer from all the participants.
12th house,
Correct. And
second,
correct. And yeah,
fourth.
fourth, correct. So this is how it would be. So for checking the chart or going through most of the chart, you have actually have to memorize this, that if a Jupiter is placed in 11th house, then where it will be aspecting. So it will be aspecting directly to the third house, then fifth house, then seventh house. Now, if it is placed in 12th house, then it will be aspecting here fourth house, sixth house, and eighth house. So this should all be there on your fingertips. So that becomes easy when you're making some prediction or making some analysis. This is something that you need to keep on practicing. I would recommend that you take up chart of from some of your relatives or friends and try to go through them, try to understand where Jupiter is aspecting in their horoscope, and that will actually uh, you know make you more hands on towards how to make an analysis in birth chart. So this is good till now. I hope all of you have understood. So moving on to Saturn. So Saturn has third aspect, seventh aspect, and 10th aspect. So this is a bit different from uh, Mars and Jupiter. Uh, but seventh aspect is common to all of the planets. Only thing is, exception is, Saturn is having a third aspect and 10th aspect. So there is a reason why Saturn is having a third aspect. So Saturn is considered to be a Karam Karak, or a planet which is actually a significatory of all your karmic debts. So, and third house is actually considered to be the house of your efforts, your courage, the effort that you put in towards making the skills that you have acquired by putting those efforts. So, third house is mainly for that, and Saturn actually pushes you towards making more skills, towards actually making you more skillful. Because Saturn is actually, like I've said, it actually signifies something that is in depth within you, the core skills that you acquire. So that's why Saturn is more inclined towards making your skill or improving your skill sets. And also, like I said, 10th house is for your karma, your social status, I would say the fame that you have acquired so far. So these Saturn is also significator of all of these. So if you have good karmic accounts, so fame is bound to come for you. So these are the reason why Saturn is so and so aspect. And one more thing regarding Jupiter's aspect that I have to tell you, that Jupiter being a naturally a very benefic planet, or has a very soothing effect on other houses. So wherever Jupiter aspects, it actually increases the results of those houses. For example, if Jupiter is placed in the first house and aspecting the seventh house, then the married life of the person is supposed to be good. Now, why it is supposed to be good? Because Jupiter is placed in the first house. First house means myself, what I am. And if I am good, I am being actually controlled by a planet like Jupiter, then I will have some naturally good tendency or some good habits. So that will actually have a positive impact in my married life. So that is why it is actually improving my married life. Now, let's say it is also aspecting in the fifth house. So fifth house, the results of the fifth house, or the things that we see from fifth house, will also be impacted. So what are the things that we see from fifth house? Your education, your actually direction of your intelligence, your buddhi, the way you guide your mind. So those things are seen from fifth house. And if Jupiter is aspecting your fifth house, so as I said, the person is good. So it is also expected that he will have a good mind, or he will direct his intentions or his processing of mind or thought process in a good direction. Secondly, if I go to ninth house is considered to be the house of spirituality, higher knowledge, your higher education, your spiritual guru, or you can say your mentors. These are the thing, and also your luck. So these are the thing that are seen from ninth house. So let's say if a person is having Jupiter in the ascendant, so natural significance is that person will be good. That he will be a nice person. So a nice person will actually attract all the good things. He will have a good interpersonal relationship with others. He will have a good thought process. He will direct his intelligence in a right direction. And secondly, luck will also favor him, because he has put his entire energy towards the right side, towards everything good in his life. So luck will also favor him. So this is how the aspect works. And let's say if it is deposited here, so this is the house of your speech, your I would say wealth, that the wealth that you have accumulated. Your family actually inherited something from that. uh, so these are the main thing that comes. So mainly, I would say your family. So because after you are born, your family comes, because you become part of your family. A new member has joined the family. So that reason, second house comes after the first house. So those properties of second house are there. So if Jupiter is deposited here, it will be aspecting 6th, 8th, and 10th. Born in a good family, or a family with good reputation, which will actually give you reputation in the society. So this house of fame. This house is for actually inheriting wealth from your ancestors. So ancestral wealth or properties is seen from 8th house. So if you are born in a good family, or which has a good reputation, so you are also expected to have some good inherited property from them. And also, uh, coming from a good family background will also kind of ensure you that you get a somewhat in a good professional circle. So this is how it makes an impact. Similarly for Saturn as well. Now let's say if Saturn is placed in the first house, that will make a person quite hardworking because it will aspect the third house. Third house is for all your efforts that you put in, because the person would be a bit more hardworking and quite dedicated. He will have less interpersonal relationship with others, so that will impact his relationship and also might impact his marriage as well, because being more oriented or dedicated towards his work, that is also a significance. And also if you see, it also impacts your 10th house. So being more skilled, being more dedicated, it will actually give him more fame in this society, saying that the person is so dedicated towards his work, which will actually make a more impact towards the society. So this is how Saturn works. Now let's say if Saturn is placed here in the fourth house, what it will do is it will aspect the sixth house. So sixth house, as I said, is the house of loan that you take, or your employment. So and fourth house is the house of satisfaction, mental satisfaction that you have, uh, things like that. So if Saturn is placed in fourth house, so let me give an example. The satisfaction level or the content, the mental content of that level will be so high that he would actually refrain from taking any loan. He won't indulge in any activities which actually takes him into wrong direction. So and also what I have seen that Saturn, if it is placed in fourth house, that that makes a person mentally more satisfied. Those person are quite satisfied in their life. They don't want anything very extreme in their things, or they are not quite aggressive with their approach. They are quite content in their life. So this was about Saturn. And in this way, you need to actually analyze for all other houses as well. So slowly, when we take up case studies, we will be going through each of them. So we will understand how to actually make a analysis. Similarly, for Rahu and Ketu, Rahu and Ketu has same as Jupiter, fifth, seventh, and ninth. Some astrologers consider that Rahu and Ketu have only seventh aspect. Some consider that they have all the three aspect, that is five, seventh, and ninth. I consider that these their aspects are quite mild and doesn't have that influence as of the original planets like Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. They they do have effect, but not as significant as Jupiter or Saturn or Mars. Though we'll take their analysis as well when we take some case studies. So this was about aspect, and there is something called conjunction. So conjunction is actually when two planets are placed together. That is called a conjunction. Now, how strong is that conjunction will depend upon how close those planets are. So, like we have seen in the stellarium software, when two planets are closely associated with each other, and they form a conjunction, they are placed in together in a single house or a single zodiac. So that forms a conjunction. And also uh, there is a yoga actually which gives similar results to a conjunction. For example, if I have some planet placed here and I have some planet placed exactly opposite to it, so they both will be aspecting each other. Let's say I have Jupiter placed here and Saturn placed here. So there will be mutual aspect to each other. Why? Because it will be aspecting to the 11th house from its 7th aspect, and here Saturn will be aspecting a 5th house from its 7th aspect. So there will be a mutual relation between the two. They will influence both of them each other. So as in conjunction, what happens is a planet influences other. Same thing here as well. In a aspect relationship, both will influence each other. So this is how a conjunction and an aspect works. So one of the conjunction, or one of the aspect that I will be talking about, is about Moon and Venus. So conjunction can be of nine out of all the nine planets. If I take two at a time, sometimes three at a time, four at a time, or maybe seven at a time. So they will form a conjunction. They will form some yoga. Uh, they will form certain rules in the horoscope that we need to see and understand how it works. So there can be many conjunction at the same time, but they have their different effects and different influences on the native or the person that we will be taking. So here I have listed down some of the case studies. First conjunction that I will be taking is Moon and Venus. So Moon and Venus is actually a conjunction where I've seen, especially for women, those who are born with this conjunction or this aspect, when both are placed directly opposite to each other, that these women are quite good looking and very beautiful. So I'm not saying about their nature, but yeah, they are quite attractive in their looks. Moon is actually, you can say, Venus is actually significator of beauty and something which is glamorous, and Moon is at the same time of womanhood or something which is related to women, and also your mindset. So uh, this yoga actually makes women quite attractive. From my studies that I have seen so far, out of 10, if after 10 women, if they have this conjunction or this aspect, 8 of them will be definitely be very good looking. So let us take some of the example. And also one thing, that Moon is actually a lonely planet. It actually changes its sign very fast. So Moon actually needs the support of some other planets like Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and when Moon is not associated with any of the planet, it forms a Kendram dosh. So which actually reduces the strength of Moon. So, and that is why it is said that if Moon is conjunct or associated with some other planet, it actually gives you more mental strength. So, for example, if it is associated with Jupiter, it will give you very strong mindset. If it is associated with Venus, so something with glamour or beauty will actually give you mental strength, that you have something to actually feel proud about. Like for example, people who are quite beautiful, they have their beauty to be feel proud about. So so Moon being associated with any other planet apart from Rahu and Ketu, and also Sun, gives Moon some strength. So let us see some of the horoscope that I have listed, that I have actually seen in my last 10 years, and I have figured out that these people are quite good looking. Especially these, all of them are being of women. Yes, being in the same house, and being in the same house actually, but Kendram dosh gets cancelled if Moon has planets in the either house also. So the house 12th from Moon or also second from Moon. Let me take some example and understand. So let's say this is a chart of one of my colleague that I have worked with. So so Moon is here in the ascendant 25 degrees, and Jupiter is here. So actually there is a planet in the house side, or you can say before or after this Moon. So the Kendram dosh doesn't form, or Moon has a bit of stability, and also at the same time it is being aspected by Venus. And see, there is a mutual aspect between Moon and Venus. So this trend that I've seen of Moon and Venus, this is very common among those people who are quite good looking. She was also one of the very good looking female of our batch, or you can say of our from the colleagues that I know. And also, if I consider the entire personality, then let's say Moon in the first house is also considered to be very good. You can always understand the situation and act accordingly. So Moon is actually a kind of watery type of planet, and it actually takes the shape as per the requirement. So these people are very good at adjusting with the situations and adapting accordingly. So that is quite good. And Jupiter in the second house is also very good for actually from the aspect being coming from a good family background, you can say. And this is house of your intelligence, your buddhi. Buddha and Sun forming a good yoga here is actually a very good yoga, and that is being considered, that is being aspected by Mars. So this person is intelligent, and at the same time she is a bit aggressive because Mars is being this yoga is getting aspected by Mars. So you can see she is good looking, she is intelligent, at the same time she is aggressive, and these qualities actually make the person stand out from the crowd. So this is how, taking each of the planet into consideration, you have to judge. And also one thing, Saturn in the sixth house. As I said earlier, malefic planets in the third, sixth, 10th, and 11th are considered to be very good. This is actually the house of your enemies, your competitors. So if Saturn is placed in the sixth house, then it actually actually suppresses all your enemies or your competitors. So this actually helps us to stand out in the crowd, or actually beat all her competitors, and uh, actually win in the competition. So this is how it is, and this is how you need to make an analysis. So this was about one thing, Moon and Venus, and let's look at some other horoscopes as well. So she is also one of my colleague that I've worked with. Similar thing, as you can see, Moon and Venus are respecting each other, and Jupiter in the ascendant. So Jupiter has a natural significance of, you can say, making a person sober, well behaved, and good mindset. But at the same time, Jupiter is debilitated or in the Neech Rashi. So the significance or the power of Jupiter will be lower, on the lower side. But still, if I consider the entire horoscope, in the sign of Buddhi, she has Mercury, Mars, Sun, all of them. So very logical thinking, aggressive, and also intuitively very nice, I can say, her intelligence or her way of thought. So that is quite good. At the same time, this lord of fifth house is exalted in third house. This is also good, and also aspected by moon. So in a way, it is a very good combination to have. And also, as I said, if Saturn is placed in third, sixth, 10th, 11th, Saturn also is quite good in these houses. So this is also a very nice horoscope, and the person was very good looking, very attractive, very beautiful. I mean, go to another example. So this is also for one of my colleague. Uh, Same thing, same trend you can see over here. So she has also Venus and Jupiter, sorry, Venus and Moon being aspecting each other, and she was also quite very good looking. The problem here is, as I said, Sun is the significator of immunity. So when Sun is placed in the 12th house, it actually lowers down your immunity. And she also suffered from a lot of health troubles in recently. That was the main issue that she was facing. And also, when you look at Saturn here, so Saturn in the sixth house will always suppress all your enemies, all your competitors. So she also stand out in the crowd, and she performed really well. And also, when you see Mars in the 10th house, she's quite energetic with all her work in her social activities. So in these aspects, you when you analyze the entire personality, it looks quite good. But the main key point that I'm pointing out here, key thing that I'm pointing out is Venus and Moon aspect, that which makes a person more attractive and beautiful, and also good looking. So one of the practical examples, so far I have taken only anonymous. Let me take some of the uh, cases that you have seen so far. So this is the case, horoscope of Urvashi Rautela. She also has the same combination of Moon and Venus associate, combined or conjunct in second house, and here Venus is exalted. Venus is in Ucha Rashi, and this combination has been expected by Jupiter, which is actually giving it more strength. So as I said, Jupiter is a benefic planet, and wherever it aspects, it gives power to those houses, or actually amplifies the results of those houses. And the same thing has also happened here with the combination of Venus and Moon, that she's extremely good looking, extremely beautiful. But at the same time, when you look at the ascendant has Sun and Mercury. So Sun is actually a planet which illuminates the entire solar system. So a person having Sun and Mercury in the ascendant will actually stand out in the crowd, can be noticed far away in the crowd, and can be noticed well among the uh, crowd of hundreds and thousands. So these are the quality that a person has when Sun is placed in the ascendant. And also when you look at the horoscope, Rahu is placed in the 10th house, which is actually a good placement for Rahu. Mars, which actually makes her thinking and thought process quite aggressive. But at the same time, because this is also house of your logical thinking and your application, Mars does good here. So in a way, a very nice horoscope. So for all the cases I've taken anonymous, and I thought of that if I take only anonymous, you won't be able to reciprocate or judge that how it actually works. So for that reason, I've for one case I've taken it non-anonymous, or someone whom you actually be knowing. So this is all for today. Uh, it was all about aspect, and mainly a conjunction of one planet, actually couple of them, Moon and Venus. So we will take more conjunction and aspects later on, and we will see that how it impacts the native. So any questions or any doubts you can ask.